Well, hello, gorgeous ladies. Put your hands up if you've ever felt like an imposter in your own life. Yes, your own life, the life that you've created, the life that you're living. Have you felt like an imposter? Well, you're not alone. And in this video, we're going to talk about how the gift you already have can assist you to overcome your imposter syndrome. My name is Janet Riney, and I am a quantum change coach here to educe, elevate, and liberate your mind as a professional woman from self-sabotaging your life to live a life you have yet to imagine. So let's get into this. So as a beautiful, amazing professional woman, juggling, doing all the things, looking after children, looking after parents, depends upon where you are in your life, there are times when we can still doubt ourselves. Even though we've made amazing strides within society as a whole, that nagging voice can still hold you back from living the life you've yet to imagine. So during this video, we're going to discuss how our own self-doubt can hold us back, what the factors are that contribute to this phenomenon, and what are some of the strategies that can assist you to overcome that. Spoiler alert, you already have them within you. It's just that you keep listening to that negative voice rather than listening to your wisdom that's within you. So when I've spoken about self-doubt and mentioned imposter syndrome, you're not alone. Research has shown that up to 75% of women have experienced this self-doubt at some point in their lives. Can you imagine that you're trying to go through life being all that you can and you have your own self-sabotage going on in your head? And like I said, you're not alone. 75% of women have experienced this too. And it's not just professional women, it's all women across the board. Yes, I love working with women who are in positions of leadership. However, I've worked with women across the range, and whether a person is successful, seemingly successful and has got all the trappings, or somebody who doesn't, the commonality is that self-talk, that negative self-sabotaging talk, preventing you from living the life you've yet to imagine. And I continue to say yet to imagine because, of course, your self-sabotage is preventing you from thinking beyond what you already know. So yes, it's preventing you from living a life you have yet to imagine. But what you have to realize, like I said, you're not alone. And so this video is going to help you to overcome that. But before we start looking at overcoming, let's have a look at where it came from. So when we start looking at some of the origins of imposter syndrome or self-doubt, first and foremost, we have to look at society. There are so many negative messages that are around for women that if we hear them often enough, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. Whether that is from the media saying that we don't look a certain way, from our peers because we're not acting in a certain way, from our parents who expect certain things from us and so then can put us down. All of these things can contribute to that negative self-talk that we can have day in, day out. There's also a fear of failure. Yes, we can all experience that, both men and women. However, there's some research that confirms that women can feel that more than men. So again, that can go hand in hand with societal norms, the messages that have been given about women, but then once we internalize them, we're frightened of not living up to those expectations that were not our own in the first instance. There can also be an unconscious bias that happens in the workplace, whereas you may not see female leaders in positions of senior management, and then you may then start to doubt yourself, thinking, well, who am I and why should I be the person to do that? So unconsciously, women haven't been promoted to be in those positions. And then when you're looking to see role models and they're not around, you then start to doubt yourself. If you want to know more and see more reasons, click the link in the description below and it will take you to the full blog post. Anyway, let's continue. So I said at the very beginning that you already had the gift to overcome your self-doubt and feeling of imposter syndrome, and that is your own innate wisdom, that which has been within you since the beginning of time, since before you were born, and guided you before you could start speaking. Now, the thing is, what's happened is that we have a lot of head knowledge, intelligent, we're bright, always wanting to create, always wanting to learn. And so what happens is we learn more and more information, and that becomes louder and louder and louder. Whereas wisdom, which has been with us since the beginning of time, that can sometimes feel like a quiet voice, whether it's a voice or a word or a feeling that's there to guide you. But what happens is we begin to put our intellect over our wisdom, and as a result of that, we then start to doubt ourselves, because what happens is our wisdom is saying, you've got this, you've got everything that you need within you. Your intellect, based upon societal norms, stereotyping, unconscious bias, is saying no, 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 no. And that's where you're in conflict. And with that conflict and uneasy feeling, sometimes we listen to the louder voice rather than wisdom. So how do we begin to start to listen to our wisdom to overcome this shouting, negative troll that we've created? First and foremost, it is to be still, to be in the moment. Because what can happen, we're so busy doing, running. We're not even recognizing the thought process that's going on. It becomes unconscious to us. And so in being still, in being in the moment, you start to notice your thought patterns. You start to notice your own self-talk. And then what happens, the more you begin to notice and listen and be still, you can notice the difference between your own self-talk, which is negative and cognitive and comes from up here, and your wisdom, which could be quieter, guiding, and can come, like I said, whether it's a feeling or it's a thought, you start to notice the difference. So let's start off by being still and being in the moment. And as I've said, you also then start to listen and recognize the different voices. And then thirdly, what it is to do is to start to act upon your wisdom, that inspired action, we can call it. Now, I'm not saying to trust what I'm saying or believe what I'm saying. You are your greatest teacher. So what I would say is, what's happened when you followed the shouting, negative self-talk in the past? What have the results been? How have you felt as a result of that? And then what happens when you listen to that gut instinct, you listen to that wisdom, and you start to follow through on that? What happens? And so what I would say is to start taking inspired action. Understand the consequences when you follow one voice or one sentence or word over another. The other thing is also to be gentle with yourself. Life is a series of experiences and ups and downs. Failure and mistakes are part of that, because how can we learn? In making mistakes, in embracing and accepting who we are, what we're doing in that moment, trial and error. It's to accept that you're going to make mistakes. It's to accept that nothing is ever perfect, but it will always work out. Not sure how exactly, but it will always work out. And so when you show yourself love, when you show yourself compassion, the energy and feeling that you have when you start to listen to your wisdom, that voice, that negative voice, starts to get quieter. And in contrast, your wisdom feels stronger. It may not even sound any louder, but it feels stronger, and you feel more pulled towards that. So why is it important to overcome your imposter syndrome or negative self-talk? The first one, as I've said, is that you have no idea how amazing, magnificent and powerful you are. And that's because of listening to this negative self-talk telling you you're not worthy, you're not good enough. Once you start to overcome that, you start to see life differently. Your life changes miraculously, even if the outside, what's going on outside doesn't change. What's going on within you changes, and as a result of that change within you, it can't help but to come out. So first and foremost, your life will change. Secondly, you'll become a role model. People will see you moving and shifting in a different way with more confidence, going for more opportunities, seeing more opportunities. But then what happens when more people see you? You become the role model. You become the person that inspires others to take action, to do things differently. And so, my friends, as we're coming to this conclusion, what you notice and what you recognize is your negative self-talk, that thinking that you believe to be true, that energy that you have, the meaning that you've put behind those thoughts. It starts to get quieter as you start to recognize the difference between your negative self-talk and your wisdom. And in noticing the difference, you then experiment with your own life and you follow what your negative self-talk has said, but then you realize that that doesn't make any sense anymore, and so you start to listen to wisdom. And in noticing the difference, you start to move differently, act differently, your life changes, you begin to change, and other people witness and notice that, and you become a role model for other people's lives. If you want to know more and have more detail about this imposter syndrome and overcoming it and the negative self-talk, click the link below, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Take care. Bye.